Hello everybody, welcome to another IRPG game report. So this is the second session that was run by Winston Biggleswade. It's actually the last session to be played before the rules are actually released onto the website. So it was pretty important for me that things went pretty well and that I had a minimum of things to change. Basically the plot there isn't one because he's basically running it as a test to test the magic system. So it's pretty much a dungeon crawl is what we're playing, and I have to say the session I think went really well. I think everyone enjoyed themselves. We had a full contingent of 4 players: myself, Eleanor, Duke, and Zhao. We all played a certain type of mage. Eleanor plays a necromancer. I am more of a mind mage with a bit of melee ability. Zhao plays an air mage, and Duke plays a fire mage. And yes, it's really. I was really very surprised about how well I think it went. Really, I thought it was very successful session. The bulk of the session, I shall show you here, took place in this here corridor. This here, we came across this very long corridor which was full of books. It was part of a library, and when we entered here, 3 of us, myself, Zhao, and Duke, decided we would all try and rummage through all these books to see if we could find anything interesting, you know, any knowledge or of ancient tomes or whatever. And we were informed that we weren't really finding anything, but we decided to keep digging. Meanwhile, Eleanor and her pet goblin that she's picked up moved further up here. And then, as we started to get more spread out across here, Winston sprang the trap, basically, which we asked for. The books, some of the books at least, came alive and started flying at us and became basically very, very weak enemies. Really, really weak enemies. But there was a lot of them. I think there was about 16 books, 4 of us. And it was a very good fight. We could have really easily taken on these enemies, these mobs, if we'd have been better prepared. But because we were caught unawares, as it were, and we were all spread out over this large corridor, I was at the bottom here, Duke and Zhao in the middle, and Eleanor was further up here towards this large room up here. It was really rather challenging, and I really, really liked that, because the whole idea is that combat is pretty deadly and anything can kill anything if you're not prepared for it, and we weren't prepared. So this, which could have been a pretty easy fight for us, turned out to be bloody difficult. I'm telling you that now. Eleanor was reduced to 3 vitality points up here. She had to summon 2 undead minions, 2 skeletons to have her survive through it. Duke in the middle here set fire to the in the middle of the corridor, like right here. He created a wall of flame, which would have, like, it's basically an area of effect spell. Something that I haven't written the rules about is sort of flammability and how fire might spread. Basically, it's a very basic rule set, whereas this spell does this much damage to this many creatures, but because the fire stayed there for a while, it was an area of effect spell that had a duration. When the spell ended, the fire remained there because there's books and carpets and parchment everywhere in here. So this fire started about here, and began to spread. I was stuck about here, and I was kind of left by the party to deal with myself, and I didn't mind this at all, really, because it demonstrated how you have to work as a team to survive. I was reduced to 2 vitality by that point, and barely escaped with my life. I was actually saved by Duke, who animated a little bit of this fire, because he's a fire mage, so he can actually animate fire that's actually there, and it's a relatively easy spell for him to cast. And he animated this little bit of fire that was like a sort of a mini elemental, and ran it down here to distract the books, while I made a dash past the fire, and I managed to get out by the skin of my teeth. It really was a very, very good, intense session, and The fact that two of us almost died but didn't showed to me that yes, it was a very like we were really unprepared for it, and the mobs did hurt us a lot, but at the end of it we survived. So I mean, that was a credit also to the GM for running the session so well, and Winston's an excellent games master, I have to say. He's very imaginative with the situations he puts us in, so all credit to him. But I was really pleased how we almost died but we didn't. If I had died, or if I had suffered injury, then that would have just illustrated the fact that you have to look out for each other. You can't leave one of you behind. Because we're all mages, none of us is really that hardy. We have no meat shields, no tanks, I suppose. Zhao actually is the hardiest of us, because he has the biggest defense, because he's very good at dodging, which he did very well. I don't think he even suffered a single hit during the entire fight, though he was casting lightning bolts and gusts and various other things. And speak of the devil, there he is. But yeah, I really liked how we almost died but we didn't. It showed excellent balance both within the encounter and with the game itself. The biggest problem last week was that mages found that they didn't have that much to do, that there wasn't enough spells for them to cast, pretty much. Alana was batting things with her dagger. There wasn't a need to do that this time around. The only reason that you would attack with your dagger with the current spells that I've added, and I've added them to more added spells more than just the spell powers that we're using. I've added them across the board because I realized that was like a global problem with them. Yeah, the only reason you would attack in melee is because if you were conserving magic, because you can only cast a certain amount of spells before you have to rest again. So yeah, we all had something to do. Despite my powers being mind magic, which is more like empathizing with things, I could also do things like resist pain. And I actually had this. I was really pleased about this spell. This spell lets you get a skill that you wouldn't normally have and be pretty good at it. So I increased my toughness to survive, which I didn't actually need to do because Duke sent his little fire elemental down to distract the bugs. But I took precautionary measures. So I had tools at my disposal, even though I was using more of the passive spell types to survive the encounter. And I was really pleased with how the whole thing went, and everyone had something to do, and it was excellent. Really, I think it was very, very, very good, very well run, as I said, by Winston. And the fact that I couldn't move more than the bugs meant they were continuously chasing me, and hilarity ensued when there was one bug chasing me, and I was running for my life from it. I mean, I'll never live that down because I was being chased by a dictionary. And yeah, I didn't, because it was near the fire. I didn't want to go and get it, so I fled from the killer dictionary of death. The only minor little thing that happened was up here, where we encountered this door here, and Zhao, being an air mage, wanted to break it open, and he found that with all the spells at his disposal that he could currently cast, he couldn't find a way to easily break it open. And what I said to him, and what I would say now, is that not every spell type can do everything. For example, air magic against a metal door with a big padlock on it probably won't do a lot of good, whereas another spell school probably would. And that's the whole point of having all these different spell types. I mean, there are 12 different spell types within the game. They all have their special abilities for certain situations. So, okay, air magic couldn't open this door, but one of the other characters probably could. Turned out that we in fact had a key that Aluna was carrying, but she forgot. But air magic is more of a utility sort of thing. It's not that offensive. It lets you fly and do other neat things. Another factor within the spell schools as well is the fact that if you cast a spell incorrectly, there is a chance that things can go wrong. You roll on a miscast table and the result is modified by how much you failed by. If you fail by a little bit, the chances of something really bad happening are pretty much none. But if you fail by quite a lot, if you try and cast a spell that's way in excess of what your abilities are and you completely balls it up, there are chances that things can really, really go badly. And the thing with the air magic is, and I can actually show you here because I have it here, is that the bad effects for the air magic start at 1, pretty much. Whereas if we scroll down to fire magic, which is much more destructive and dangerous, it actually starts at 4. So it's balanced in that way. Is the air? All right, it's not that powerful offensively, but it's a safer bet as well. It's not going to blow you up. So that's another factor within the magic system that I'm pretty proud of, and I think that it'll need work, because not all of the spells all the spell types have been tested. But all in all, I am very, very pleased with the way that it went. If you're wondering actually why I have chickens up here, it's because we needed a chicken. Because down here, way back, oh, it's he's closed the thing off. Yeah, we found a chicken, which I instantly tried to kill because I was hungry, but it turned out it was a talking chicken. Sadly, one of the goblins that was accompanying us as sort of meat shields killed the chicken anyway. But Alana had the ability, because she's a necromancer, to speak with the dead. So she cast a spell that let her talk with a dead talking chicken, which was amazing. It was so class. And we also found this severed head, and she did the same with this severed head, and he gave us some clues about the place where we were. Yeah, really, really, really good stuff, and I'm really pleased with the way it went. I mean, last session there was this pool of liquid, which because Zhao wasn't here at the time, we were all sort of controlling his character, and because he has air magic, he can actually float, he can glide. So he glided over this pool, and he got the shield that was on the other side of it, and he glided back. It was all, it was the spells. I'm really pleased with, and I think that they're now balanced with the melee, because no one had a problem with the damage they were doing with the spells. It was, I mean, we were fighting quite low level mobs. The idea is, of course, that you don't have a party of 4 mages, even though it's obviously possible to play the game as that, because that's what we're doing. But that you have, you know, more of a traditional sort of makeup. You know, you'd have someone who was good at magic, but you'd also have at least one character maybe who was, you know, you could stick in the front and be a meat shield. So, because our party isn't so diverse as in we're all mages, it is a little bit harder for us, I suppose, but we are getting through it, and I think that's a testament to the flexibility of the system, and again how much damage magic is able to do now, because it didn't do enough before. So I've upped the damages, and it's certainly equaling. I think it's equaling melee with the damage, but time will tell, because I will shortly be releasing this game on the website, so you guys can take it and play it yourselves. Now I'm going to make another video about that, announcing that and going through things I want to address tomorrow. That's when I'll release the game. But for now, I really enjoyed last night's session. I thought it was great, and I hope everyone who played it also had a good time. So yeah, I think that about covers everything. We're currently ongoing into the dungeon. We'll keep on playing it, because it is a very interesting dungeon that he's made, and yeah, long may it continue. I'm actually really enjoying it. It should only take about 1 more session, I think, to wrap this dungeon up. But yes, all in all, very, very good, and I'm currently pretty buzzing about the whole system. I think they went really well, and as I've said a few times, and hopefully when people get it, they'll be able to play it and have as much fun as we've had with it. So yeah, thanks guys, hope you enjoyed watching this, and hope you find it pretty interesting. Okay, toodaloo.